Welcome, everybody. Welcome back to Men Cry in the Car podcast. It is episode 23. And yes, we did just do an episode on Saturday, but we're going to go and have one today. Today, we have a special guest, Bobby Bostic. If you do not know his story, you get ready to understand what resilience is about, what perseverance is about, what like going through hard times and then coming on the other side, being strong is all about. Follow him on Instagram, free Bobby Bostic. But I'm going to bring him on so he can tell us his story um, of 241 years he was given for committed robberies as a child. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about feeling thoughts and all those things. And so let me bring him on right now to the stage. Bobby.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Okay, here you are. So thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate you sharing your story with us. I'm actually going to let you start on just talking about like who you are, what happened, all the things, talk about your book, just talk about all the things we need to know about you.
My name is Bobby Bostic. My story is that at the age of 16, I committed a robbery. Nobody was seriously injured, or nobody was went to the hospital or anything like that. But I was given 241 years after I didn't accept a 30-year plea. The judge gave me 241 years for the crimes because it was five people getting out of the car that got robbed, and then somebody got robbed around the corner, and the judge ran all my sentences consecutive for a total of 241 years. Told me that I would die in prison, and fast forward 20 some years later, 22 or 23 years later, she came back and said she made a mistake, and they tried to get the governor to give me a clemency. He wouldn't do it. So ultimately, they got together, the legislators of Missouri got together, and they passed the Bobby Bostic Law in Missouri that allowed me and hundreds of others to be eligible for parole. I made parole, got a year out date, and I've been out for 241 years. I mean, I've been out for 27 years, and I'm on parole technically for the rest of my life. The judge who sentenced me was my advocate at my parole hearing. While I was in prison, I wrote 15 books. Nine of my books are published. Nine of those books are on Amazon. I got a associate's degree while I was in prison. I'm 7 classes away from my bachelor's in sociology, which I'm currently pursuing now. I got a nonprofit called Dear Mama. We do giveaways throughout St. Louis and in private communities twice a month. Also got another nonprofit called Trouble Teens with Dreams, where I help teenagers that's in trouble or not always in trouble with the law, but maybe any other trouble. Trouble to the point where they can't accomplish their dreams. We try to help them to accomplish their dreams and assist them in that. And I go into the juveniles and volunteer and teach writing workshops twice a week and sell my books that are available on Amazon. I do motivational speaking across the country.
Hmm. Absolutely. Thank you so much for that. I want to ask, because I don't know if you've been asked this before, what was going on in your life or around in your environment or your surroundings for you to commit the robberies? Like what was happening?
To briefly sum that up, if you want to get a longer answer, please go read my autobiography. It's called Humble to the Dust Till I Rise. It's available on Amazon or wherever books are sold. But to briefly sum it up, I was an inner city kid. At this time, I used to sell drugs, but it was a drought. There wasn't a lot of drugs around. We couldn't, cocaine was a drought of cocaine at this time in 95 in St. Louis. And I was selling fake drugs to get money. And when the drug fiends stopped buying fake drugs from us, it was a robbery. But this robbery here in particular was unplanned though. It was just we was walking down the street and seen some people that weren't from this neighborhood. And back in St. Louis at that time, in this particular neighborhood or neighborhoods period, if you didn't live over there or you wasn't over there seeing somebody that you knew or buying drugs, you didn't come to these neighborhoods. This
Hmm.
was one such neighborhood, and we saw some people that went from over here, knowing they wouldn't come to see nobody. It was an instant unplanned robbery
Yeah.
because early that day, one of my a home girl from my neighborhood, we from the north side of St. Louis. At
Mhm.
the time, we was on the south side in somebody else's territory, and a guy smacked her, and she told him she was gonna go get us, and he was like, "Go get them,
Mm.
whatever." And so we went around and approached them. They was like, "Man, we cool with y'all. We ain't got no problem with y'all." And this was a real drug set. It was real hot with the police over there. So we was going to put the guns up. In fact, we was going to put the guns up because we couldn't walk around with guns at that time all day with police all up and down the street. So, but as we was going to put the guns up, we saw the victims of this crime and decided to commit the robbery.
Mhm. Mhm.
Spontaneous though, not no planned
Right,
robberies.
right, for sure. And this was what, 1995?
Yeah, this is December 1995.
Okay, and how old were you then?
16.
My goodness. So what was going on like in your life? Like, did you were you raised by your mom and your dad? Like, what
Yeah.
was the okay? Your dad was around.
No, my dad wasn't around. I was raised by a single mother. She was on welfare, and I was in the streets. I dropped out of school about a year before that. I
Hmm.
went to ninth grade for about 2 weeks and never went back to school. So I was in the streets. I was hanging out in the streets all day, and that's typical of us coming up as young black males in the ghetto, who our role models was not some positive. We had drug dealers and neighborhood gangbangers as our role models, and that's who we inspired to be. And I was living that type of lifestyle.
Hmm. That's what happened. So you are your mom has how many children? Are you the oldest, the middle, or the youngest?
On the middle is two above me, and then my little brother. He deceased. He was shot. Same block I committed my robberies at. He got shot 4 months later.
Okay. And so growing up with a single mom, and she had to take care of four children at the time. Like, what was the household like? Was there a lot of hugs and kisses and I love yous and a lot of like affection?
Yeah, we surrounded by love in the house. It just when you live in poverty, it comes with what it comes with. Some people turn to substances. My mother used to drink alcohol or whatever, so we smoke weed all day. When you're dealing with poverty, somehow you try to escape it through mind altering drugs,
Hmm.
any way that you can, trouble relationships or whatever. Poverty don't just hurt the physical. It ain't so much as you go to bed hungry. It's a soul pain that can't be explained in words. And to numb that pain, you turn to drugs. You turn to peer pressure and try to get people in the streets that understood me better. My comrades, I felt I was loved at home, but the streets show you a different type of love. And
Hmm.
at that age of peer pressure, you seek that type of love. You gravitate to the streets more than you do home.
Okay. So tell me about this soul pain because I've never heard it like that before.
Well,
Like, what was the soul pain for you? Hmm.
probably don't just so much affect you where you don't have the nice things, clothes. See, when you see kids committing crime or doing things that why they lash out and things like that, you'll never understand because you'll look at it as okay, well they can go get a job or they can go to the community. Then the soul pain is when you're being teased by your peers, or even if you're not teased, the soul pain is knowing that you don't have what other people have. Your connection with God may be slim to none. You know God, but you're not really connected on the spiritual aspect. So you're looking for things outside of yourself. And when you look inside of yourself, you only feel pain. You feel emptiness. You feel neglect. You blame society. You blame like why we got to live like this in the neighborhood, in the ghetto. Why is it that nobody can see us or feel us? Why do we feel unheard? So with that pain, as the African proverbs say, the child that don't feel the love from the village, that child would burn the village down. So in our rebellion, we was spray painting on the walls. We was selling drugs in our community, committing robberies, uh,
Hmm.
gang banging. So we was burning the village down because we didn't feel warmth from the village. So we lashed out, and that's what kids do. That's what soul pain is. To sum it up, but it's a real deep thing that I explain in my books. What soul pain is when kids suffer from extreme poverty.
Hmm. So, oh man, when you don't have that support, that love, that nurturing, all the things that you need growing up, as you say, and as I'm understanding, then you start destroying your neighborhood. You just start destroying the places that where you live, like your environment.
Yeah, we
If
don't.
that If that wasn't the case, if that
But
wasn't the
the
case.
case I'm explaining for myself and
Okay.
kids living privately, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes the love is at home. It's just we don't, and we. It's a different type of love that we seek, and it's just like you see kids that's wealthy or their parents are well off, and they got a two-parent household, and they still turn to the streets.
Mhm.
It's something that can't be explained. It's in peer pressure. We seeking acceptance from our peers, and to be accepted by your peers, you must commit certain crimes. You must do things that can jeopardize your future. You must do well what we'll call stupid things, crash out, crash dummy type of things. The love at home is there, but it's you want to wake up and feel a part of something, so you join the gang. Or on the other hand, if you neglected at home, these kids in the streets they neglected at home too. So we bond together and form our own subculture because we feel like our parents don't understand us or nobody in our household understand what we're going through. So we
Mm.
gravitate to our peers. Some of these peers are bad influences because they misguided and they guided by criminal influences. Criminals are not born, criminals are made. We don't set out to be criminals. We set out for camaraderie, and in the process, we end up committing crimes to get the things that we don't have, to get money, to get clothes, to get things our mothers can't afford. So we start being in the streets committing crime, and soul pain creates more pain because it leads to us going to prison or getting killed in the streets,
Mm.
which by that point we become hopeless and don't care about dying. We know we're gonna die. I knew I was gonna be dead by 18, but I didn't care. And this is
Mhm.
the result of soul pain. It's so much pain that you can't handle it, that you become numb to the pain. And in numbing your pain, you end up causing other people pain in the process.
Mm. Okay, so this is just me being curious. If there was love in home, like you said it was, and then you wanted love from your peers or your friends in the community, what do you think could have stopped or could have prevented what was missing for you?
All right, let me sum that up too. That question. Your podcast is called Men
Men cry in the car.
Men Cry in the Car. Okay, so
Mhm.
what we would do when we was in the car, right? My mother would say, "Don't get in that car, right? Those guys are. I don't want you riding with them." And I would get in the car, tell dude to pull off, right? And she's sitting here. I'm like, "Man, pull off, man," because she looking at me through the window. She already told me don't get in the car. I'm not sneaking. I'm defying her rules. I'm, Mom, man, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm finna go with them. My partner's off finna go. She looking at me through the window. Now my conscience, I got a conscience, so I know I can see her face, the expression on her face that I'm hurting her because I'm disobeying the rules. I'm like, man,
Right.
pull off, man. Pass me the blunt though. I
Hmm.
got to get high to numb the guilt I feel from disregarding her, right?
Okay.
And the ironic thing about men in the car, it's 4 or 5 of us. We got guns and drugs on us. Out of all songs in the world, we got Dear Mama on repeat because
Hmm.
we love this woman, we don't know how to express the love to her, right? And
Mm.
when we say men crying the car for us is, hey man, we got to go to the front of the mall. Little Pops just got killed, man. Slim got killed yesterday. The front of tomorrow. We getting high, we crying, tears flowing. We not like crying like boo hooing loud, but you can see the tears in dude's eyes, and it's like,
Right.
man, pass me the weed, man. That's how we numb our
Hmm.
pain. We crying in this car, but um, we don't know how to deal with this pain, so we get high. We may go retaliate on somebody else for killing Slim, or we just knowing that we just disobeyed our mama rule. Man, let's just go, man. Let's get high, man. She
Yeah.
tripping. So
Yeah.
men cry in the car. Sometimes it's not even physical tears. It's the inner crying that we doing. We crying out for help, but we don't know how to express the help. So we just get in the car and ride out,
Yeah.
and sometimes we ride to our own destruction. We don't ride to a
Hmm.
place of healing that we need to go to. We just get deeper and deeper in our pain and deeper in the trouble that we in, and it becomes too late to dig ourselves out. As in my case, you would die in the Department of Corrections. That type of pain ain't no more cars, ain't no more ride. The only
Yeah.
ride I'm going to is this prison bus now. While my 18-year-old classmates was graduating high school, I was
Hmm.
being shipped off to the prison bus. Ain't no crying on that bus because nobody cares. But men
Right.
do cry in the car that's a deep title of this podcast, and I wish
Mhm.
we had a bigger platform to express. Men do cry in the car, which we do.
Mhm.
Sometimes we'll ride and cry when nobody can see us. I can be by myself. It's raining outside. I'm just riding in the car because even at 16, I did this. Sometimes I'm riding in the car crying because dude just got killed I used to be with every day, or
Yeah.
the things at home that we going through, the pain. And it's like, man, nobody can understand this. So it was Tour Too Far. Look, Tupac got a song called Shed So Many Tears, right?
Mhm.
We
Mhm.
listen to that song religiously every day because we shed so many tears. We cried every day. Sometimes it wasn't always physical tears, but we shed tears on the inside every day. That's the soul pain I'm talking about. So
Yeah.
men do cry in the car for everybody
Oh,
listening.
absolutely. My question is, was there what help did you want that you were seeking? I
Well,
know you had the friendships and everything, but what was the help that you as
I'm
an individual?
as me and other
Mhm.
lost individuals. America is a wasteland to us when we're in the streets. We don't even know what we're looking for. You say to help. Um, Once upon a time, as I explained in my autobiography, I did get tired of the streets, and I tried to
Mhm.
go get a job, but it just didn't work. No excuses or no blame. I don't blame nobody or nothing. It's just the help we looking for. We don't even know because, first of all, some of us once we get to making so much money selling drugs as teenagers, going to a job is a whole different world from us, right? So the help that we seeking sometimes can't even be found, right? Because you can't tell your mother to stop drinking overnight. You can't just move from one neighborhood to the other because you probably can afford rent at this house you're living in. So all that was going on in my world, the help that I was seeking, it couldn't be found right then. It took a year or two or three or four, and I didn't have patience. I wanted it now or didn't get it, and that's why I was out in the street selling drugs. So what I was looking for was in what the answer I was looking for could only be found in my young mind in the streets by the guys who selling drugs, who's successful, making money like that, and can move themselves out of certain circumstances, et cetera, et cetera.
So, if that what I'm hearing you say, if that's what you were looking for and you never got it, was there ever any hope for you?
Nah, I'm speaking. See, like when you watching me, I'm speaking for my generation and the generation now. We
Mhm.
feel hopeless in the streets.
Mhm.
We feel like there's no hope, and that's why we give up. Give up.
Exactly.
Give up is me saying I knew I would be dead at 18. I had already gave up by that point.
Yeah.
I knew I would be dead at 18. So for a man or a child to say that, a child, I was
Mhm.
a child, I was 16.
Mhm. 16 years old.
For me to say that, I had already gave up hope and didn't think none of hope because in the ghetto where I'm in the ghettos, look at the ghettos now. Not where I'm from, the ghettos period. If you ride through these neighborhoods, you see all these abandoned buildings. Look at the grass. Even the grass is dying in these
Yep.
neighborhoods. So when the grass dying, is they call food deserts. There's no
Mhm.
good food around. Everything around us is dying. So what are we living for? We don't care.
Yeah.
And not that we don't care about taking life. We not heartless that we don't care. Is that we create an enemy and just kill a person because we feel like they the opposition because they from a different gang or a different neighborhood.
Mhm.
Because we got to have something to lash out at, and we don't. We back in the '60s or something, maybe people non-violently or violently lashed out against a government that they felt was unfair. For us, the government don't. We not even looking that far. We only seeing up the street, around the corner. We're not
Mhm.
even thinking about the government. So we take our frustration and lash out. We're not trying to change the conditions. Back in the '60s, they were smart enough to go to school, to get in government, local government, city politics, national and state politics to
Yeah.
change the things that they saw the problem and they wanted to change it through them. Other people did it through violence to try to overthrow governments and all that, but they channeled their anger and frustration to trying to change their conditions. We
Mhm.
not trying to change nothing but our own condition, our own house. We're not tripping off changing the neighborhood or world because we can't see nothing. We only can see I'm hungry tonight. I got to go get some money, and we can't think beyond that. We wasn't reading books. We wasn't educating ourselves politically or none of that. The streets was our school, and everything about the street was destruction. But We didn't
Mhm.
care because we only saw destruction around us.
Mhm. That is a very good way to express that because I can only imagine being in that type of place, not seeing any help or support or whatever. It's like we are going to die on the street. We are going to die right here. So, but I guess my question now moving forward is maybe, and this is how I'm seeing it. You tell me if I'm wrong. You committing the robberies, do you feel like that saved your life or helped you turn around?
Yeah, yeah, it saved my life. Well, God saved my life, but
For sure.
God used circumstances to put us in to change our life. The worst thing that could have happened to me was getting 241 years, but God can take the worst things and turn them around to the point where I had to be sober now. Not that
Mhm.
the drugs was everywhere in prison. It wasn't like I couldn't get the drugs.
Right.
Chasing marijuana, I got high every day, but it stopped working for some reason.
Hmm.
Went to 18 different people to get their marijuana, thinking that maybe the other 17 people marijuana wasn't good.
Yeah.
It stopped working, so I had to. It wasn't nothing left. I'm in a solitary confinement, locked in the cell. They got books down there, so I started reading, and it opened up my world behind my street corner. And once I saw the world for what it was, I wanted a piece of the bigger world, the larger world. I wanted
Hmm.
to understand it, but I needed an anchor stronger than me. So people don't. People always say why people go to prison and turn to religion. It's that when nothing else exists, it's nothing else. You sober, you in the cell, locked in a box. You know you need something bigger than yourself. You
Yeah.
can run from it. But for me, I embraced it not overnight because I looked at religion in a skeptical way. I looked at
Okay.
people in religion in a skeptical way. I was like, man, let me read the autobiography of Malcolm X. This is what he said changed his life. So I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, let me investigate what he said changed his life before I ain't finna jump into it because I'm going into it in a skeptical way anyway. But when I went into it in the skeptical way, God
Hmm.
answered all my questions and opened up religion to me. And once I opened up on the religious aspect, my life was different. I stopped smoking, I stopped drinking, I stopped cursing, I stopped hustling, gambling. Everything that had to do with negativity, I stopped it. And I submitted my life to God, and then the world opened up to me. Then I started branching out to other things, sociology, reading books, and then I read so many books, I wanted to capture my generation. So I captured the first thing was my mother's life, wrote about her story, and about how the pain of her kids rebelling against her turned her to
Hmm.
substance abuse, et cetera, the things that she did. Then I wrote a book about the younger generation. All these questions you asked me about how kids is and why did I feel like that. I wrote about it in a book called A Generation Misunderstood, Generation X, telling people about why we feel this way as children, why we feel lost and hopeless. Then
Yeah.
captured everything else in other books, poetry, my life story, books about prison. I just captured everything I knew in writing, and I'm
Hmm.
still a writer today. And we all got a gift. Once you find your life purpose and tap into your gift, then you discover your passion and your goal in life. But at the same time, it's bigger than you. You start helping other people through your books,
Yeah.
through your teachings. It becomes bigger than you. So when people say find your purpose, they don't mean just find your purpose to become a millionaire or to
That's
become
right.
a teacher. It means find your purpose and see how you can help change the world. Starting with yourself, your surroundings, your family, your neighborhood, your city, your state, and then the world. Because finding your purpose means what is your purpose in this world, which which is always bigger than you.
That's right. So you found your healing and you found your purpose when you were locked up, and now you start writing books. That's
Yeah,
how you giving back. Is that my understanding?
yeah. The pen and paper side healed. Writing showed me the way. I
Hmm.
wrote all my problems, saw them, and then what is the solution? So I had to read and study to come up with a solution to my
Okay.
problems.
I really hope people are hearing what you got to say about that because when you're in a position where you think there's no hope, there
Yeah,
is always a way to heal from it. Or it's like you said, you wrote it down, you wrote your problems down. Now, what's the solution? When you were in prison, um, did you find support there? And if you do, like, who was your support system when
it was
you were locked up?
random strangers. Family was there always.
Okay.
Back real quick, I was talking to a guy in prison today. He got life without parole. Somebody robbed him, tried to rob him. He took the gun. They wrestled. He killed the dude.
Mhm.
It wasn't self defense because after you shot the person, he kept shooting him. After the dude was running away, so that made it first degree murder. But he been locked up 30 years or whatever. But
Mhm.
I'm talking to him today. He keep making excuses about, man, I don't have family, man, I don't have this, and then when dudes get out, they forgive me, et cetera, et cetera. He making excuses about why he can't do what was done. Then he said, "Oh, in your situation, it was luck." There's no such thing as luck, man. I didn't get out of prison on luck. You think that the criminal justice system really just say, "Okay, we should just let this guy out"? It was
Right.
change I made in prison. That's if you look at the TV interviews when you Google Bobby Bostic and look under all the YouTube videos. They asked the judge what made her come back. She said because I had read about what he was doing with his life, the classes he took,
Mhm.
the man
Mhm.
he became is not the child I sentenced. That's what made me want to help him get out. Dude ain't he the dude I was talking to in prison, he wasn't looking at all that. It's no step thing, it's
Yeah.
luck. I made a
That's
change
right.
despite me having the death sentence, 241 years. I still changed my life. Most people that ain't never getting out, why change if you never getting out? Or because they don't believe they getting out.
They
I
don't
always
believe it.
believed
Yep.
I was getting out, and then I knew I had to change anyway. If I wanted something different, I had to change. You can't expect, as they say, insanity is doing the same thing, expecting the same results, right? You can't
Mhm.
do something that you've been doing, and expect the results to be different. I knew I had to. When I changed, my circumstances changed, and I got out. He not understanding that his
Mhm.
circumstances changed. He changed, but the heart it can't be bitter. You can't have hate and expect God to or the universe. If you don't believe in God, some people listen to this, they may be non-believers. They may not believe
Yeah.
in God. The universe, if you searching for a goal, the universe itself will put the people and the places that you need to accomplish your goal. You
Mhm.
everybody who started these $1 million companies and multi-billion-dollar companies, these people started out with nothing but a vision, an idea. They didn't
That's
have the
right.
resources. They spoke passionately, and an investor invested in their dream. Or as me, I'm writing books. I had nothing but a pen and paper. Now my books are published. Now I used
Mhm.
to sit there in prison and put my books on the bed and just look at them like, man, you started with nothing but a pen and paper. No such thing as luck. We can do what we want to do if we put our minds to it, and eventually
That's
we'll
right.
get
That's right. How many young men have you feel like you've helped or that you know that you've helped with your books or your writing?
a lot of them. Like when I leave here, when I get off this call, 4 o'clock, I got to go down there today, and I take
Mhm.
the little snacks that they allow me to give them, and I talk to them. It's always one or two dudes that I can see
Mhm.
listening constantly.
Mhm.
Those are the ones who will be touched.
Yeah.
Speak to girls too at the juveniles too, so can't just
Okay.
get as good.
So that's why I love the story. That's why I love the story of you being in a growing up in an environment where most people and you probably felt like a statistic as well, but you didn't remain there. And
Now,
yes, your actions got you in prison, but yet and still you're like, there is still hope for me. And I'm gonna find out like the problem and the solution. And then like look at all of this. Because if you if you really look at everything, a robbery, okay, growing up with a single parent, being in that type of neighborhood, robbery, you were supposed to die in prison.
yeah,
You
um,
were, but you turned all of that around. There was a purpose for your life. There's purpose for the people that you're helping, and you're speaking at juveniles. You're speaking at you have speaking engagements. Like you wrote books. How many books? 15?
15, 9 of them.
15 books. So that's what I'm saying. Like there's so much. Like I really hope whoever sees this or watches the replay that they can say that my life is not over. Like if I'm listening to Bobby, my life is not over. I
Now,
haven't even been part of half of what he's been through. So
yeah,
if I can watch him, then I know I can do something with my life.
please take that example because prison, we making it. We sum this up in a few minutes and all that, but prison, you're around stabbings and robberies and the most violent, sickest people in the world all day. But in the mix of that, I'm doing college courses because I decided to change. And this is a place where you can't be weak. Nobody care about you reading and writing books. You still got to be who you is, but you
Right.
can't let that deter you from getting in trouble with these other guys because you ain't getting out if you don't change. First of all, but on the other hand, people looking at me in prison like, man, you giving these positive speeches, brother. You ain't never getting out of here. And it wasn't until faith came through where I did get out and them dudes realized like, man, this dude was saying this stuff all along and he brought it
Mhm.
into existence. So it made a few of them say, let me
That's
try
right.
for it. Right? That's another way that you can do greater is by example. when you tell somebody don't give up hope, you
Hmm.
looking at a living embodiment of hope. So when I talk about hope, I ain't just talking. I ain't just read a Bible or a Quran or Jewish scripture and told you, hey, have hope. No, I just showed you an existence on how hope happened. But the one thing I don't preach none of that. If I just bring it up sometimes that when you were a child from the ghetto with no resources, no money, no nothing,
Hmm.
to get a law passed in your name in the state,
Hmm.
certain state like Missouri, for me, I know it had to be God, right?
Right.
And and you lose all hope in that. If you don't believe in God, then have hope in something. You got to hope because without hope you give up and it's over with after that because you
Hmm.
feel hopeless. You feel like, okay, I'm just gonna wither away. If you're an old person or you got a medical diagnosis, I don't just speak to juveniles, kids, college. I go to old senior citizens homes everywhere because hope is
Yeah.
needed everywhere. Older people need hope. If you live your life raising kids and grandkids, you need hope because you did the work and live your life. Even if you're dealing with a medical terminal illness, have hope that even if you don't get better, that you can live your last days reminiscing about your life in a good way, seeing the good that you have done.
Yeah.
Just don't
Yeah.
feel hopeless.
Yeah. Thank you for that because I know a lot of men come on and they have that's where they are. They're in the state of being hopeless and helpless and worthless and all that. So just to hear your story is definitely it's very uplifting. It's very empowering to me. It's a powerful story for sure. Definitely for sure. So I thank you for even coming on. Before you leave, please let us know like what you're doing in the community, like if there's something that you have on the books for next year, things that you're doing consistently. Let us know about your books again, your social media, because I know there's going to be somebody that wants to connect with you for sure.
You want to connect with me, you can follow me at Free Bobby Bostic on Instagram. Follow me at Free Bobby Bostic on Twitter. I'm on LinkedIn as well under Bobby Bostic. Um, you can contact me through the host of this show. If you want to reach out to me, I do bi-monthly giveaways in my city of free toys, clothes, and shoes. I'm gonna keep doing that. I've been doing that since I've been out. I do go into the juveniles to volunteer to teach writing workshops, teach kids how to write business plans, job resumes, and essays. So when they get out of juvenile, they can take a different path. If you want, I ghost write books as well. I help people start a nonprofits. That's a service I do on the side. I get paid for helping people write their stories or whatever book they want to write. Um, I ghostwrite it for them. My name is not on there. I help them, but they get the credit because it is their book. I'm just telling the stories they give me. Um, you can follow me on any social media platforms. You can reach out to me on Instagram, Free Bobby Bostic, on Twitter. You just follow me on those social media and see what I'm doing every day. You can Google Bobby Bostic. My case have been covered. My charity, the things that I'm doing have been covered well by the media. So you can just look at the videos under YouTube and just follow me on those platforms. My books are available on Amazon. You can go any bookstore and give them the title of the book and they can order it for you. So my books are available on Amazon or wherever books are sold. So that's how you can follow me and stay updated, social media, and get my books off Amazon.
I love it, Bobby. Thank you so much. I know you say you get ready to head out as well, and I have some other things to do, but I just want to take you down just for a second because I want to talk to you before I end the show. Do you have just like 2 minutes?
Yep, yep.
Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Everyone, this has been another episode of Men Cry in the Car podcast. Amazing, amazing story. As Bobby said, look him up, find him on YouTube, follow him on social media because that was just a little bit of his story. Purchase his books, go to Amazon, put in his name, find all his books because this man is doing some amazing things. And as I say always, men, I see you, I hear you, and I support you. Until next time.